Hi, everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Alex from Archer Media Center, and I'm joined by none other than Mike Archer himself. Mike, how are you doing today?
I am great. We finally got summer. It's in the 80s and things are good. I'm starting to like the warm weather and life is good. So we are today in page 20, lesson 5, questioning. So what we're doing now is we're moving on from the actual behavioral styles and how we use them and how we communicate. Because remember, I told you this program, this particular sales training program does not work digitally. This is where you have to get in front of people, either Zoom calls, however you like to, face-to-face calls, however you like to communicate in person visually is the only way this program is going to work. Establishing the relationship. What I used to tell new sales reps for Walsworth Publishing was, I said, you can sell anything to anybody one time, but that is not what's going to sustain and maintain your business. In order to grow your business, you not only have to grow new customers, but you have to keep your existing customer base happy where they want to continue to do business with you. This was the only way that Mom and Dad made Archer Travel thrive, and they instilled that in us, in Ron, Steve, our sister Sandy, and me. It's our guiding principle that we maintain the relationships. In the back of my mind, always as I was calling on my schools, always in the back of my mind, it was, what have I done for them lately? And I always had this sense of, I need to talk to this school. I haven't talked to them for a while. Or this school hasn't contacted me, and usually they get in touch with me a lot, so I better find out what's going on with them. It's maintaining the relationship, and that's what those first 4 sessions were about. Now today starts the actual selling process. All right. It's lesson 5, and it's asking questions. We are now in the questioning phase. All right. This goes right along with Jose's training on qualify. And you'll notice you Evo agents, you've already done this once before. And so Alex is going to post in the chat room the link to where you can find the training videos again that were in module 5. Because what I'm talking about are general sales questions. They're not geared to the travel industry. They're geared to general sales across the board. So, and in module 5, there are all kinds of training videos with specific questions for specific situations. The 2 that I know about for sure are selling cruise business and selling all-inclusives, but I know there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. So after this lesson, go back in, because you've taken this, you had to take this module in order to get your EVO certification. So this is going to be for review for you. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. What is involved in your actual sales call? We've gotten to know them a little bit. And so now we're going to do on page 20, I want you at the bottom of the very first paragraph, there's a sentence in there that I want you to highlight, underline, tape to your forehead, put it on your bathroom mirror, because this is really important. You control the conversation by the questions you ask, not by the statements you made. Remember, I keep telling you that we're on a trip. Selling is like going on a trip from Seattle to Portland, and I don't care how we get there. We can go down through the Columbia River Gorge. We can come in through the coast. We can go down I-5. I don't care. All I care is we're going to end up in Portland, and the way we're going to do that is by the questions I ask. What do you want to do here? Boom. What do you want to do here? Boom. And that tells me which direction we're going to go with the ultimate goal of getting to Portland where I can sell you something. And it's the questions you ask, the statements you make are going to be in your presentation. All right. So you're gathering information now. The more information you can gather, the more effective you're going to be in your own presentation. And I know this is going to be a challenge for those of you who are more assertive, who like to make statements rather than ask the questions. So this part of the selling process is going to be a little bit of a challenge for you. The backside of the selling process, where you're actually making your presentation, that's the challenge for the left side, the analyticals and the amiables, who are not so much talkers, but they like to ask questions. So you can see how that seesaw is going to work and why understanding the personality styles and how they operate is so important as it relates to the selling process. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is is pre-call planning. Why are you going in to this customer? What's your reason for existence for that particular 15 or 20 minutes? And this is pre-call planning is nothing more than putting down in your head or writing it down what it is you want to accomplish in this meeting. Is this a meet and greet to see if you can work with each other? Is it a gathering information? They don't know where they want to go, so you're going to talk this out. Do they have something in specific in mind? You will have an idea, especially if it's a referral call or it's a second or a third call, you will have an idea. But if it's a cold call, first call, and you don't know what you're getting into, you've got to have something in mind. Why are you there? All right. So, and that was, if you remember that this exactly goes along with the initial benefit statement from last week. The two work hand in hand. All right. So now that you're in there and you've gotten to know them a little bit, now you're going to set the agenda. All right. So there's 4 things that you need to have in order to make this conversation move forward. What you need to know in order to be of help. So that's where this questioning phase comes in. Is there anything else I need to know? In other words, am I not asking enough questions? Have I not asked a question that's important to you that you need an answer for? So you're always going to continually ask, is there anything else? Is there anything else? And then once you've done that, then you're going to tell them, okay, now after we've done that, this is what we're going to do going forward. And the 4th one is one of the most critical ones. You need to establish the time. So when I walked into a yearbook room and I was talking to the advisor, usually it was during her prep period. And so I say, look, this is what I need to get accomplished today in order to know if I can help you. It's going to take about 15 minutes. Is that okay? Now, what that does is it pulls them onto your side and it lets them know that you're being respectful of their time. And he might say, no, I can only give you 5 minutes. I said, fine. I can get a lot done in 5 minutes, but what I would like to do is set a time when I can come back and finish the conversation. Will that be okay? Yep, we'll set a time when you can come back and I've got more time. You need to do the same thing because a lot of times what ends up happening, you say, you know what, this is going to take about 15, 20 minutes. Is that okay? And then we'll go, yeah, sure, no problem. I've got the time. So what you're trying to do is, do they have the time or are they under some sort of a gun where they can't do that? The time question is really, really important. Then what you're going to do is your very first question is called the bridge statement. And the bridge statement is nothing more than going from the establishing the relationship phase, the formal introduction to the asking questions phase. And it's simply, it's like, again, it's just down at the bottom of page 20. Before we begin, let me ask you about, boom. And so then you go into, so you preface that. So that's the bridge. before we begin, let me ask you about, that's the bridge. And then what you want to do is you want to go into the types of questions. Where am I here? Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the conversational circle here. This is where the conversational circle really comes into play. All right. So we've talked about the process. We've talked about the conversational circle. Now we're going to start getting into, okay, the first question that we're going to ask on the bridge statement is the hypothetical. This is where the bridge statements comes in. And I want you to look over on the left side where it says the correct question, the right question for the situation, open questions versus closed questions. Open questions are the questions where you're trying to get as much information as you can. All right, we're going to get into that. Closed questions are when you're looking for a simple yes or no answer, and we're going to talk about both of those. So in the hypotheticals, a hypothetical, you can see, and it creates safety for your client. It lets them know that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say and where they want to go. And so, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get their telling tension down. You want them to get their story out. Because remember, if this is a first time, they're still trying to make the decision on whether or not they're going to continue to listen to you. So by letting them talk and you show them that you're interested in what they have to say, that goes a long way to building trust, where they are going to let you to continue to talk to them about doing business with them. So, and you can see, now remember, in the manual, anything that's in italics is how I would phrase this. You have to use your own personalities and your own questions, your own phrasing to get the answers that you need. And so for mine, it was just, okay, hey, if you could go anywhere in the world you wanted, where would it be? Or if you could do anything that you wanted to do, what would it be? Anything at all. This is a key one, and it kind of sets up a question that we're going to get into later. It said, if you had an unlimited budget, what would you like to do? So and this is the part of the hypotheticals. We're not asking them about money. It's very important. It's a very big distinction here. We're not asking them about money. We're asking them, if they had an unlimited budget, what would they do with it? All right. So those are how you start the hypotheticals. So now let's get into the questions that give you the most information possible. These are called the non-directive or the global questions. They're also called the journalism questions. It's the 5 W's and the H. Who, what, where, when. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Oh, I got to put the when back in there. So this is designed to pull out of your client. Remember, you're trying to get to know them. It's more crucial that you get to know them than that they get to know you at this point. So what you're trying to do is you're still trying to you're still trying to examine what they're doing, find out what they want to do, and then help them get there. So here's some examples of over on page 21. How do you feel about your current income as it relates to your travel plans? Now, here you're getting a little bit more specific, but you haven't asked them the specific question is, what is your budget? I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to gauge what their income level is or what they're thinking about, what they think they can afford. Because down the road, this is going to save you a lot of time and energy. If they've got a Cadillac, they've got a Cadillac game plan, but they've got a Chevrolet budget. That's going to create a problem for you. And it happened all the time in the yearbook business. So, but fortunately, there was all kinds of options that I could give them that got them close to where they wanted to go, that kept them happy. But even more important, it kept them inside their budgets, which kept the principals happy, which made me happy. Because that's how I got them back, is I kept them in budget. That was The advisors wanted to create, the principals wanted to stay in budget, and I was really good at marrying up the two so everybody stayed happy. That's going to be your job as well. So that's why the trainings on all of the suppliers give you, so that you know all of the options that you can bring to bear when you start making your presentation. So, and then if you're, where do you like to travel? What are your favorite things to do? These are generic opening questions if you don't know where any place else to go. Always have those in your back pocket. If you don't have some place to go, these are in the types of questions you want to ask, because you're meeting them for the first time. You're helping them plan a vacation, but they don't really know what they want to do. So this is what's in your back pocket. Now, they may have something specific. I really want to do Puerto Rico. I really want to do Spain. I really want to go see Tuscany. It doesn't matter. Once you get that answer, now that gives you the direction to continue asking more and more and more questions. What about it is it that you like? Where did you hear about Spain? Where did you hear about Tuscany? What was it about that appealed to you? You just keep asking those questions over and over and over again until you think that you've got enough information that you can make an intelligent presentation. The key is in the middle of the left-hand column on 21. You need to ask questions that invite complete answers. This is the time where you are doing nothing more than gathering information, and you are taking notes like crazy. And in the next session, I'm going to show you how, if you want to get a jump start, you can go into lesson 6, because there's a form in there that Sales Training Institute created a form for you to take notes, and I'm going to walk you through how to do that next week. But if you want to get a jump start on it, you can take a look at it before we go there next week. Archer Travel also has some of those same kinds of forms in the Travel Cafe that are geared specifically to cruises, all-inclusives, group movements, family trips, that kind of stuff. All right. So go down to the next paragraph where it says our telling tensions are going up. I want you to highlight this paragraph, the whole paragraph. Our telling tensions are going up because the longer they talk, the more they reveal how you can best sell to them. And especially you right in the line people, you're going to want to jump in and immediately sell to them. You have to avoid doing that like the plague. Do not get in the habit of answering a question with a selling feature. You don't want to do that. It's very, very awkward. You want to get a complete picture from them, and then you want to give them a complete package. You don't want to go back and forth with, I want this, here it is. I want this, here it is. That is not an efficient way to sell. And a lot of stuff gets lost in the process when you do that. Okay. You've got to keep your telling tension in check. We amiables and analyticals, we're in seventh heaven because we're asking questions and getting all kinds of information. Drivers and expressives, you've got to kind of bite your tongue a little bit, ask the questions, and then your turn comes when you do your presentation. You need to be, and this is what I want you to really highlight. You need to be careful here of your own lock on, lock out tendencies. Remember, lock on, lock out is when you've fixed onto something so intently, you've locked out everything those people have been telling you. You need to avoid that. All right. So here's some additional questions you can ask that are designed to get you even more information. Okay. The next question, the part of this is called the elaboration question. And all these are, those of you that are old enough to remember Paul Harvey, this is tell me the rest of the story. So in your conversational circle, you say, I really have wanted to go for a long, long time. I've always wanted to go to Tahiti. And your answer is, wow, that's really interesting. Ask a question. Tell me more. I'd love to hear why that's so important to you. Listen for the answer. Take your notes. The more you can get the stuff out of them, the deeper you can go, the more equipped you're going to be to make a presentation to them that they're going to purchase. All right. My uncle, who traveled the world as a sales rep for Shell Oil, was always on a plane. And he was telling me one time, he said, Mike, if you ever want to know about people, all you have to do when you're in a conversation is go, yep, interesting, I see. He says those 4 things will get you more information than you could ever want to know about somebody, simply because you are encouraging them to keep talking. And it's something that I never, ever forgot. And I was 14 at the time. So I got a very valuable lesson from my uncle, the sales guy. Okay. A reflective question simply is a restatement over on the right-hand side. It's simply a restatement of part of what your client has been talking about, and it's designed to deflect a little bit. And I've given you some examples over here, and this is simply where you are reflecting back to them what they have just said. And this can also be used as part of acknowledgement as your feedback. It's really interesting how this works. So let's say that you are in a recruiting jag and you're trying to recruit a friend or a relative to join Evolution Travel because you know they have an interest in travel. And they say to you, I don't believe in the MLM process. Now, here's where the danger comes in. If you try to respond to that, you have no idea what is in their head and why they believe that. This is where the reflective question comes in. It says, the MLM process? Ask it in the form of a question. It serves as both feedback and a question at the same time. It's a piece of cake. Now you're going to get, well, I've heard all kinds of stuff of how MLMs are just nothing more than Ponzi schemes, and the people at the top are the ones that get rich, and whatever that is. Now you have a place to go, because evolution is not built like a typical MLM. Archer Travel Service is a separate entity, and they're selling travel. Evolution has its own system that works with the salespeople. The two are separate entities that have melded into a cohesive unit so that you can make money on both ends, on travel and on recruiting. Another one that's going to come up a lot, and those of you that are in selling for the first time, you're going to get this a lot. It says, wow, your price is too high. You have no idea why they think that price is too high. Maybe you've included something that they didn't know was included, like a cruise package. Maybe they got the drink package that they didn't know they were going to get. Or maybe they got some onboard cruise credits that they didn't know they were going to get. And it's all built into that price. But for whatever reason, you did not do a good enough job explaining to them all that was included in that price. So at the end of the conversation, they're asking, what do you think? And they're going, your price is too high. Rather than getting non-defensive and getting yourself under stress, just non-defensively ask, too high? And shut up. Let them talk. Or you could say, I understand. Where do you think we're out of line? Something, so you acknowledge, I understand, and then you ask the question, where do you think this price is out of line? And then listen for the answer. Because what they've just done is given you an objection that we're going to talk about in the last lesson. They've given you objection that needs to be resolved, not overcome. It needs to be resolved. And so you're going to talk to them about, okay, let's talk about there a second. Where do you think this price is too high? They said, well, here. Ah, okay. What I didn't tell you or what I forgot to tell you, and I've done this a lot where I screwed something up. So I'll just throw myself under the bus. And I just tell them, I said, you know what? You're right. I messed up. I forgot to tell you that this, and this is all included. Then if you had to pay for that separately in a package, it would cost you this much money extra. So, I mean, I'm just giving you a general situation because I've never actually sold travel packages. I'm a yearbook guy and I know general sales. But those of you that have been doing this for a while, you know what I'm talking about. Reflectives are really good, especially because they help keep you non-defensive. That's the whole key to this. It's helping to keep your stress down, helping to keep their stress down. Remember, they don't want to make you stressed, but they have a concern. They think that they're not getting a good value for their money. All you have to do is acknowledge that, say, okay, let's talk about this. Maybe there's something, we can make some adjustments here or there, maybe cut down your trip a day or add a day or whatever, so that we can get you to where you need to be, where you're comfortable heading out on this trip. So reflective questions are really good for that. Now, one of the things that you really need to pay attention to is things start to get really crazy. Sorry. And what they do is they say something that is so out of left field, or you don't understand it, or whatever is going on. This is another way to stay out of your client's way when they're either upset or they're excited or they really, really want to talk, and you need to stay out of their way. Why is that? It's really interesting. You just go, oh, why is that? And just let them keep going, especially if they're saying something that you don't understand where it's coming from. It's just coming out of left field, and it could be a blip in the conversation. They've been thinking about something and haven't been listening to what you said, and they go up big back and forth. And then all of a sudden they hit you with something, and you're going, why is that? And just, you can, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can act confused, or you can act surprised. Oh, why is that? However you want to use it, but it's a very effective tool for continuing to let them talk. It's one more tool. It's one more tool in your arsenal. Okay, so one of the things I want you to write these two things down because they're not in the manual. If you're going to use why is that, you do not give feedback. You just immediately go into that question because for whatever reason, they're amped up to the point where why is that is not something you want to use a lot, but you want to use it in order to try to defuse a situation that's maybe getting a little bit more tense, that may not, you got to get out of their way and help them calm down. All right. So no feedback. You just say, why is that? And get out of their way. And the one thing you must avoid is a lot of us, especially if we're being challenged about something or they're saying something, a lot of times we're going to go, why? Why would you think that? Why would you do that? It's called a naked why. You don't ever say why. Say, why is that? What you're trying to do is get them to explain what it is they're thinking about, what it is that's got them so upset or so excited or whatever it is. So don't ever use why all by itself. Just use why is that. Now, you can always use why in a non-stressful situation. Why do you think this is? Tell me a little bit about why you want to go to this place. So you understand the difference. Why is that is usually going to be in a highly charged situation. Okay? All right. So now let's move on. I want you to move on to page 22. The three most important questions. This is on the test. I cannot tell you how many people get this question wrong. The three most important questions you have to ask is called people, time, money. Those three things, if you don't find out, A, who the decision maker is, all right, people. If you don't find out who the decision maker is, you're a storyteller. You're talking to a gatekeeper. So my favorite way, because I was in most of my schools, I was dealing with more than one person, because the yearbook advisor was not authorized to bind the school monetarily. So once the advisor agreed to do business with us, I had to go to either the purchasing director, the activities coordinator, or the principal to who could actually bind the school. So my favorite question then became, okay, in addition to yourself, who else is going to take an interest in this decision? I need to prepare a proposal for them as well. And so then I would make 2 or 3 copies for whoever was going to look at what my proposal was. Ideally, I got them in the same room when I was making my presentation. Sometimes that's not always possible, because then if you don't get them all in the same room, you run the risk of becoming of just talking to a gatekeeper. This is going to be especially important to you when you are working with more than one decision maker, like say a family reunion, or somebody's got a big group, a group outing, a group cruise, and you're planning it all for them. And there's going to be a lot of people involved in that decision. So your best bet is when you find out this question, you say, okay, when you're all done and you're doing your summary, you say, okay, we've got 3 people involved in this. When would be a good time that we can get on a Zoom call if they're remote, or if they're all in the same city, that we could get together, have lunch or something, and I could make my proposal to everybody at the same time. You do not want these people selling your product to other people, because they don't know it like you do. You're the one that's got to do the selling. So you've got to find out who the decision makers are, and if at all possible, get them in the same location at the same time, Zoom call, in person, whatever. If you don't do this, you're a storyteller. The next thing is time. When are they looking to make this decision? In the yearbook business, I always knew when the decisions were going to be made, because it was always in the spring after the yearbooks had come out. And they were now, their yearbooks were done. They can now look to the future to say, I wasn't happy this year. I was happy this year. I'm not looking to make a change, da-da-da-da-da-da. But that's different for your situation, because you don't know when these people are going to go. So you need to find out, when is it that they're going to go? They may be talking to you like for a year out. In our sports travel department right now, I'm working with Keith West, who was the head of the sports travel division. We have a ladies golf group that plans their trips 2 years out. We know that because that was one of the first questions we asked them. They're a brand new client to us. It's a group of 144 ladies who will go on a golf outing somewhere in the country every year. It's a big contract. It'll bring in $50,000, $60,000 to Archer Travel Service, because it's a huge contract. And so but we need to know they have a whole series of decisions that they need to make. A bunch of them are internally that affect the external decision of when they choose to do business with us. Now, fortunately, we built up their trust and we've taken care of them, that they keep coming back to us year after year. But sometimes those timing decisions change a little bit. We need to know what those timing decisions are. Same with you. You need to know, when is it that they're making the decision? Are they long-term planners where they're looking to do this a year out? Are they short-term planners that do everything on the fly and say, oh, we want to go next month? You need to know that, because that's going to determine, A, when you make your presentation, and B, how much time you have to prepare. So you got to find out when that is. Now, ideally, when you make your presentation is when they're looking to make that decision. So you need to ask them, okay, you're planning this trip a year out. when are you looking to make the decision on when you do this and who you're going to be working with? Don't automatically assume it's going to be you. You just say, look, I want to be in the mix here. I just need to know when you're going to make the decision so that I want to be the first one in to talk to you when you're getting ready to think about making this trip. Okay. And then the last one is money. You can't make any kind of a proposal until you know what kind of budget they have. And this one can be the most sticky because they think you're asking the question to milk the most money out of them that you can. So this one you got to be careful about. But if you don't ask the question, you have no idea where to start and how to properly plan for the trip. And so, and I've got over here, I said, how would you characterize your budget, or how much have you set aside for this vacation? And if they're hesitant about that, you can say, okay, I understand this is a sensitive topic. I'm not out to gouge you. I said, look, and I've done this in the past. I said, look, I can sell to you one time and you may or may not be happy, but if I don't give you a good price and good value for your money, you're not going to come back to me. I'm looking to build a business here. I don't want you for this trip. I want you for the trips for the rest of your life. I want you to trust me. I'm not going to gouge you. I'm going to give you the best value that you can get for your money. And I hope I built up enough trust that you will honor that I'm going to do what I say. And so you can phrase it however you want. That's just how I've done it. Okay. That's how I've done it in the past. So, and the key is down at the bottom, if you don't ask these three questions, you become just a storyteller and not a salesperson. These three questions are critical. They're the three most important questions you can ask. All right. So now let's go on to, it's not in there. I forgot that. So 12 closed questions are simply nothing more than closed questions normally start with a verb. Can you see yourself working with us? Do you understand what we've told you? They usually start with verbs and they're inviting a yes/no answer. All right. Your original intent is, do I have enough information to present my program in a way that this person will understand and accept? The top paragraph on the right column. If your answer to that question is yes, then you can go to the direct closed question of asking them, what do you think? Would you be interested in working with us? Just like that. Now you're going into what's called your closing questions. All right. So now what we want to do is here's how the process works. All right. First thing, we've established a relationship. We've asked our questions. Now, the key component, and again, this also is on the test, the summary statement on the bottom of page 22. When you finally gotten all the information that you think you have, you summarize it. Is this everything that we've talked about? Yes, it is. Okay. Is there anything else? You have to ask that question, because if you don't, when you come back and make that presentation, they're going to keep that in the back of their mind to either trip you up or to not to buy from you. They're going to use that as an excuse to do a stall, an objection, whatever. So you're going to bleed them dry. So is there anything else? And their answer to that is yes, there is. You go back to asking your questions and you keep repeating this process until is there anything else? And you get a no. All right. It's really, really important that you understand the process and how it works and using your summary statement. It's in the test. Don't screw it up. Okay. So again, I'm going to continue to hammer on you. The hidden key to your success and the biggest reason you'll lose a sale is you let them make the timing decision as to when you come back. Oh, thanks for the information. I'll get back to you. How many of you have heard that one? You never, ever, ever leave the timing of of an upcoming appointment to the client. Well, I just need some time to think about that. Okay, great. How much time do you think you'll need? I'm here right now. Can you share with me what it is that you think and that you still need to consider? And then you just go from there. So you want to be, I call it being pleasantly persistent. You want to make sure that you don't leave there without an appointment for the next time. Or if they say, I just need a day. I say, okay, today's Tuesday, it's 1:40. How about if I call you tomorrow right before dinner or right after dinner where we have a chance to talk and you can share with me what you've been thinking about, and we can set up, and then after that, we can set up another time for me to come back in and talk with you. However you want to do it, you use your own personality, your own questions to make that happen. Again, I cannot overstate the importance of the 5 golden minutes. This is designed to help you improve your selling skills. Okay, what did I do on this interview? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Well, I'm not going to do that again. What could I have done better? You know what? I didn't ask enough. Is there anything else questions? I think I'm still missing something. And what did I miss? If you come out from an interview and you've got an answer to this question, what did I miss? Immediately get back in touch with them, either an email or a phone call, and say, hey, I forgot to ask you something about this. And this is going to really be crucial to my presentation for you. And then, did I get a referral? The referral, you usually wait until the process is over and you either got the sale or you didn't. And we'll talk about referrals at the end of on lesson 7. And then also, did I send a thank you note? At this stage in the process, I would just send them either a phone call, an email, an Instagram, however you like to communicate, just thanking them for their time and their energy in spending time with you. And that is it. We've been a little long today, but asking questions is next to the establishing the relationship. The asking questions phase is the most critical to gaining the trust and the respect of the client that you're working with. So, Alex, do we have any questions in the chat room?
Hi, Mike. I am seeing a few questions. One of them is, okay, are the modules posted to all social media platforms so I can go look at the past trainings again?
I know that our training is on Facebook and YouTube. I'm not sure. That would be a Jose or Amanda question on the modules, the training modules that are in the Travel Cafe. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that.
I can help with that.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll definitely be found in the Travel Cafe under Quick Start, and you can view the entire playlist for Mike's trainings there. And for the modules, obviously, when you sign up, you'll have access on your back page to the, let me see here, travel training program.
I thought the question was about what format the videos are under.
No,
I misunderstood the question.
To them.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. And then one other question here, is there a trick to having recurring customers or referrals?
Yes, it's not a trick. It's just part of your post-selling process. Once you've made the sale, your job just started. You just got married, and so you are constantly going to be like in your post-sell and travel. There's always details that need to be answered. Like, is there a visa needed for a country? Do they have travel insurance? Things like that. And then you need to let them know that you are available. Even when they're on their trip, you are available if there's a problem. Archer Travel Service is famous for solving problems when people are on their trips. And so if you have a client that's run into an issue, make sure that before they leave, you let them know you don't care what happens. Give me a positive update or send me a question. And if there's an issue that I can help you with that's causing you problems, you let us know. We'll help you get it resolved where you are. All right. It's very, very important that you do that. And then when they come home, invite them out for coffee, or a dessert. Ask them about their questions. Say, hey, I would love to pick your brain about where you went on your trip, because that's one of the areas where I don't know a lot about, and I'm trying to grow my business, and I want you to help me grow my business. So that's how you do that. You are constantly keeping a relationship going. It's the selling process is just the start. The reason I kept all my business year after year, I had a 96, 97% renewal rate. And the reason I kept all my business was I was constantly in contact with them. I let them know that they were my business friend. And a lot of them developed into personal relationships. So that's the best answer I can give you, is you're looking to build a relationship, a business-friendly, personal-friendly relationship that will continue throughout the course of your doing business together. It's the trust issue. I hope that helps. But that's the best way to keep your client base. Just take care of them, and they'll come back to you.
Okay, sounds great. It looks like all the questions. So, Mike, thank you so much for today's presentation. Any closing words?
No, I'll just see everybody next week. I'm going to be on the road. I'll probably be doing this from my daughter's house in Northern California. We're moving our youngest daughter down there. She's bought a house down there to be closer to her sister and her cousins, and so we're going to be down there next week helping her get moved in. But 1 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. I'll see everybody next week. See you later.
All right. Take care.